Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. Yes. Thank you for the applause. I appreciate that. Nah, but seriously, we got a heck of a show lined up for you today. Obviously, you can see from the rundown, we're gonna talk some boxing, but it's that second topic that kind of has the sports world like ablaze right now. And so we're gonna dig into that. Got some good commentary on it. Yeah, we're really gonna get into that. Obviously, Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever, they're on a hot streak, and they got a huge game tomorrow against Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. That should be big. And of course, we're going to finish up with some NFL talk because, I got to talk some football, and Dak Prescott is going to be what it is. So before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't wait. Another one of the biggest stories in the sports media right now, Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. So probably run through this pretty quickly, but we know how much attention she's been getting. We know how she was getting a ton of attention even before she came into the league with Diana Taurasi's comments when she was in the Final Four in college, and Diana Taurasi was like, there's an awakening coming because, she's, basically, what was the quote? It was roughly like, you can look all world when you're playing against 18-year-olds, but now you're going to come into the league against grown women who've been doing this a long time. And, great point. And I think a lot of people who are Caitlin Clark fans, and they're very upset with what they're seeing in that she hasn't been able to walk into the WNBA and just dominate out of the gate. But the crazy thing is, like, if you're watching, and I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you I'm the greatest WNBA aficionado or anything like that, but I will say, if you've been watching, for instance, over the last 4 games, the Fever are on a 4-0 run over the last 4 games. She's playing a lot better. Like, if you're watching, she seems to really be getting much more into the flow of the WNBA game. She's kind of somewhat adjusted to the physicality. She's adjusted to the speed. She's adjusted to her teammates. She seems to be connecting a lot more with Aaliyah Boston, last year's #1 overall pick out of South Carolina. So that's going a lot better. And Caitlin Clark is, she's doing well. She's adjusting. And I think one of the biggest problems that she had in terms of the WNBA is she played in the championship game in March or April. And I want to say like 3 weeks after that, she got drafted #1 overall. And then it was, straight into camp and trying to get ready for the season. There was no time for her to get on a strength program. There was no time for her to really bond with her teammates in terms of, connecting with them and making that connection on the court the way she would have liked to. There was no time for her to continue to get her body ready. There was no time for her to rest. It was all a whirlwind, right? And so she comes into the league, and of course, with all the attention she's getting, they're going to want to go at her, right? It's kind of like when Lonzo Ball came into the league, right, G? And everybody was in straight attack mode because of, his pops, talking like crazy, right? And so she had definitely a rough start to her career. But even still, with that rough start, she's coming around, like I said, and she's setting records. What was it, last night? I want to say she became the 3rd fastest player, tied with Sue Bird in WNBA history to 100 career assists. So she has become a better passer. Now, with that said, she's got to cut back on the turnovers. She's averaging like 5.5 turnovers per game. That's rough. But that's going to come. Again, that's going to come. And a lot of people were making a huge deal that she didn't make the Olympic team. That, I think, is actually a good thing for her because she's going to get an opportunity for her body to rest while the league takes a break for the Olympics. So I think that's a positive thing, even though a lot of people were making a big deal about it. But my man Mel from Man Down Sports, he made a great point. If she's on the Olympic team, who are you taking off, right? Dallas Wings star guard Arika Agubenwale, she's second in the league in scoring. She didn't make the Olympic team, and she's a killer. She gets busy if you watch her. So you look at that and you say, man, everything is going to happen in time. It's just, I think the expectations maybe were too big out of the gate. I don't know if you thought Caitlin Clark was going to walk into the WNBA and drop 49 on people like she was doing in college, pulling up from the logo. Like, she's got that range, but this is a different ball game. G, what are some of your thoughts on Caitlin Clark and what you've seen from her and kind of all this craziness with the WNBA in terms of her and all that?
Oh, so I think she's a offensive uh, juggernaut.
Mm-hmm.
Not at this moment, not at this point in
Mm-hmm.
time in her career, but I think later on. Right now,
Yeah,
she's
of
averaging
course.
16 points.
Yeah.
16 points. She's shooting a little over 33% from beyond the arc.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they 7-10. And so,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't she make the Olympics? Well, your team's not winning. The transition hasn't completely taken over yet. You almost halfway through the season, and I don't think she's peaked yet. Right?
Nah, nah.
Faster to 100, that's fine. But she need to get that free throw. And I think she only attempt like eight threes a game or something like that. So I think as time go on, we'll see more of Caitlin. But it's a tough league, like you mentioned
It
earlier.
is.
It's
Yeah.
a tough league. There's a lot of winners in that league, a lot of
Mhm.
winners. And as of yet, she hasn't won anything. So um, I think as time go on, she'll definitely be in talks. She might win an MVP later on down the road. Who knows?
Mhm.
The sky's the limit. She definitely has the range to do a lot of good things in the league. And I think as time goes on and people stop looking at her as an icon in the league and let her earn that respect that she deserves, right?
Mhm.
On this level, she's gonna stay in. She's gonna stay in the talks. We're gonna
I
see her
agree.
almost all the time, but she has to earn that. I think that's earned.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be given, right? 5 turnovers a game just not gonna do it for you.
No, no, it's not.
Yeah, not gonna
Let me
not gonna
push
do it.
back a little bit on the Olympic thing, though. So, what some people might argue is that Candace Parker was number one overall pick, and what some people might say, she didn't make the Olympic team. Breanna Stewart didn't make the Olympic team right away. So, it 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 can take a little time. As great as as great as she has the capability of being, it could take a little time. So, I'm not overly concerned about it because, like I said, just watching, you're seeing there is a difference already from the beginning of the year to now. And we're going to see another big time game tomorrow. The Fever versus Chicago Sky. And why is that a big time game? Angel Reese for the Chicago Sky. That is a huge rivalry. And I'm not saying it in terms of Angel Reese being the type of player, but that could be Magic and Bird going forward, right? Just because they have that rivalry going all the way back to college, right? NCAA championship game, Angel Reese won. Final Four the following year, Caitlin Clark wins. Now they come in the league. They're going at each other. They're the top two rookies in the league. Angel Reese is dominating on the glass, playing inside the way she does. I know you proud of her from B More. She's a freaking
Absolutely.
muscle box, man. She she gets down on the glass, bro.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
she's not gonna give you, the splash plays like Caitlin Clark is, but what's the word I want to use? Junkyard dog. You know what I'm saying? And you need junkyard dogs to win. You need that. And so she's all over the glass and she's doing it. Caitlin Clark is en route to being the fourth rookie in NBA history to average 15, 5, and 5. And maybe I think the fourth player overall in WNBA history to average 15, 5, and 5. She's getting better. Her and Arike Ogunbowale, I mentioned her earlier. They're going back and forth for most 20.5 assists, 5 rebound games in the league. She had passed her, I think, earlier in the week or last week. I don't know if she lost that, but they're going back and forth for that. It's just really good. Oh, Caitlin Clark is also the fourth player in WNBA history to make 43 pointers through her first 15 games. So, and again, if you look at it, a week ago she was at like 29% from three. Now she's 33% from three. So she's starting to figure it out again. She still needs time. She still needs development. And this break during the Olympic break, I think is going to be a very good thing for her. And then we're going to see when she comes back next year, a year in the strength program, a year with her teammates and continuing to develop and get better and tighten up on her tighten up on her handle and all those things. Man, hey, call in on the topic. It's not that serious. That's cool. It doesn't have to be a popular opinion. This is my show, man. I want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear what all you got to say. So it's not about always giving the popular opinion. It's, saying what you feel as long as you're respectful, right? So yeah. So we're looking and we're seeing Caitlin Clark in a lot of good she's in a lot of good company in terms of what she's been able to do thus far in the WNBA and what she has the future to do. Now, I tell you what, she really needs to make sure that, well, she's got about 2 or 3 years left, but she got to make sure she's on the top of her game when Juju Watkins comes in, because that's the real one.
Yeah.
Juju Watkins from USC, Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, both of them are nasty. And you're seeing more and more young ladies coming into the college game with better and better skill sets. So Angel Reese, Angel Reese, she need to keep working on her offensive game and keep getting better. And of course, Caitlin Clark needs to continue to improve, because you got some young ladies that are coming down the pike and they're going to be coming in to bring it to you. So, there's that. But anything you want to add, G? We'll keep this segment short and then we'll take a couple calls on it.
I think Angel Reese is probably gonna win Rookie of the Year.
She's not going.
She's averaging a double double right now.
She is,
I
but
mean,
she's not going to win Rookie over the Year over Caitlin Clark. I can't see it.
you don't see it. She
Nah.
only Caitlin's only trailing only ahead by 4 points a game. Other than that, her stats is like 4 rebounds, 4 assists.
No,
It's
it's
not.
5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. So she's what, top 10 in assists, top 20 in scoring.
Number 1 in turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and listen, I can't. There's no defense for that. That's just something she's going to have to improve on. And that's all there
Yeah.
is. There's no defense for that. That's terrible. All
But
right.
yeah, no, I think I don't know. Caitlin is she's like American Pie, right? Like everybody everybody jumped on you know. Oh man, I probably
Yeah, I'm
broke down.
laughing because I'm.
Yes, everybody loves Caitlin Clark, man, and
Yeah.
she's evolving in the league, and she'll be around for a while. She's
Yeah.
like 22, I believe, like 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She's good for business. The
Yeah.
seats will
Very
continue to
good.
get filled, so
Oh,
you're gonna see her. Yeah, yeah. She brings in the fans, and so as long as she
mhm.
brings in the fans,
That's right.
um, there's always gonna be a place for
That's
her.
right. To that point, G, you mentioned good for business. Thank you for reminding me. Do you know that 6 networks who broadcast WNBA games have reported that Indiana Fever games have set all-time ratings records for those networks for WNBA broadcasts because of Caitlin Clark? That's crazy.
I believe it. Yeah,
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be another huge one.
yeah.
What's up,
I think
Bruce? Good to see you in here, man. I appreciate you. I'm not going to go as far as to say white privilege. I think that's a stretch. What I am going to say, I don't know if you were here last time we talked about this. 60% of Americans identify as white only. 12%, 13% identify as African American only or black, whatever term you want to use. And so it's not a factor of white privilege. It's a fact of you're seeing um someone that more of America can identify with. And so that's helping, right? If you see it's that whole representation piece, right? When you see somebody you can identify with, you tend to gravitate towards them. So I don't know if I'm going as far as to say it's white privilege, more so than just she's identifiable with a larger portion of the demographic. That's simple. Um all right, cool. So all right, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. Anybody who got any comments? I saw you, Antoine. You said you had an unpopular opinion on Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Definitely want to hear that. Let's go. Antoine, what's good, man? What you got?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, man.
So let me ask you a question. What is your thoughts about the objective truth about any situation?
The objective truth about any situation. it's irrefutable, right? It has what do we call that? Oh man, I can't remember the term. I use it often, but the evidence is there in front of you and it's irrefutable, right? The objective
Hmm.
truth is that I'm 6 feet tall. Like there's nothing that can change that. That's what I am. Without shoes on, I'm 6 feet tall. It doesn't matter if I believe I'm 6'9", I'm not, right? I'm 6 feet tall.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead. What you got?
And so I then I ask another question. As far as the things that you are entertained by, can someone force you to watch or pay for something that you're not interested in?
No. However, I may not know that I'm interested in something or entertained by it, but if someone possibly forces me to be exposed to it, I may realize that I could be entertained by it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you think, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not interested. And then it's like like you got a lady, right? And she's like,
Hmm.
hey, babe, do this or do that. I ain't trying to do that, right? But then you say, I'm gonna just go do it, shut her up. And then it turns out, yo, this wasn't bad. Like, I enjoyed that. You know what I'm saying? So I think there are situations where it can happen with exposure.
Okay, so from my perspective,
Uh-huh.
it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
I would my grandma said this.
Mm-hmm.
I can try anything you want.
Okay.
If I don't like it, I don't ever have to try it again.
Right.
And so my point is about the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Since its inception, uh, you can look up the numbers in many forms.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost $10 to $12 million since their inception.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter who the player was or the game. The vast majority of people aren't interested in it. That's one point. Another point, the things that they espouse. When you inject politics, whether it's identity politics or social, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
the average viewing person that's going to take them out of the game. So
Mm.
that's two elements that's been happening with the WNBA since its inception.
Okay.
So now, if you make a statement about the reasons why you don't like the game, you give them suggestions about, what possibly may make the game more entertaining, what make it better, then they attack you. So it's three things that's against them that the average viewer is not interested in. And one of the biggest things that happened with the WNBA, and that's why I qualified my statement before I called in, is that with Planned Parenthood and the Afro community and all stuff like that, it put a lot of people off of that game.
Right.
And all the suggestions that was given to them by great players, no, 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 it's just like they made an argument for it, accept what you give you, but at the front of just like being a consumer and business, it's like the customer telling you what they want and then you buck against it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you possibly think that your product is going to be successful? It's nonsensical and illogical. And so let's take this to Kaylin Clark. Do I like her? I don't. I don't care one way or another. I
Mm-hmm.
think she's okay. She's bringing in ratings,
Mm-hmm.
but the WNBA is gonna cut cut their nose and legs and knees off despite their face because they can get the success on their own terms. People like Caitlin Clark, hater, lover, race, whatever it is. People love that girl. And to your point before I even called in about the population, statistics, stuff like that, she's a draw. And another thing about her is she's heterosexual and she espoused those type of views.
Mm-hmm.
She don't do it overtly, but she lets you know what her stance is.
Right.
She's dating a man and she has a desire to get married. Now, and one of the players, I can't remember her name, but when she was in the league, she talked about that over 90% of the WNBA is gay.
I
And
think that
so,
number is a stretch, but I know exactly what you're referring to. And
yeah,
she was
I'm
saying,
saying what she said. I'm
yeah, yeah,
quoting
yeah,
what
yeah,
she
yeah,
said.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I got you. And she
And
was
so,
saying how
and
she
how
was
she, yeah.
bullied for being
Yep,
heterosexual.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking about the exact same thing.
Yes.
And so, you seen, Taurasi kissing a chick on the field. I mean, on the basketball court. All these different things
Yeah, that's her wife.
that
Yeah, quote unquote.
right the average viewing audience can care less about those type of things.
Right.
So if you want to make money, in somehow, in some way, you're gonna have to cater to your actual audience that's viewing it. And the vast majority of individuals that view the WNBA are men. Women can care less about the WNBA.
That's a
They
fact.
watch the NBA, they watch, football, stuff like that. They don't
Yeah.
care about this stuff.
So let me
It's
interrupt you real
men.
quick. That's a great
Uh huh.
point that you brought up there, that women don't, for the most part, care about the WNBA. But
Hmm.
it shows the hypocrisy, because those are the same people that are complaining that the WNBA players should be making more money and that men should be supporting the WNBA more. Well, hey, there's more of y'all than there are of us. Like, well, what's going on here?
I was
Like,
getting to that.
men should be supporting the WNBA more. Okay, cool. If not for men and the NBA, the WNBA does not exist. Like, the WNBA has been kept afloat by the NBA, as unpopular as that is, for the last 28 years. And
Hmm.
it's no disrespect to the players and the work that they put in and how hard they work at their craft, because there's been a lot of really, really good women's basketball players out there, hence the 7 straight gold medals at the Olympics by women's USA basketball, right? So there's been a lot of really, really good women's players. This is no indictment on them, but the product, to your point, hasn't been what it needs to. It has not yet turned a profit. And
Nope.
even with all the increase in viewership and merchandise sales and all that's come this year, they're still projected to take a loss. Now, in the next couple of years, I expect that to change. But I do get your point. And real quick before I let you go on, I just want to, what you said about people not being interested. Many people are not interested, but the numbers, at the very least, for the Caitlin Clark games, would decry that. And I guarantee you, when we see the ratings on Tuesday for tomorrow's Fever Sky game, they're probably going to break more WNBA viewership records. But go ahead.
Okay. So you made 2 points I was getting to. So I'm
Okay.
gonna start with
My
my
bad. I
other
didn't mean to get
point
ahead of you.
first. No, you all good, brother? You all good. Love the show.
Thank you.
No, but so my latter point first,
Hmm.
if they don't change the way they promote the game and all that, they're gonna kill the only like profitable interest that they have in Caitlin Clark. It is what it is. I don't care about your race or however you view this.
Right.
That girl bring numbers.
Yes.
She put butts in seats. She's actually selling out arenas. Why would you not promote that?
That's right. That's right.
And then show your game, show your defense, show your
That's right.
stuff in
Take that
those
chance to
games.
say,
And then,
okay, they looking at her, but they about to see me. Right.
exactly,
I'm with
exactly.
you. I'm with you.
And that will expand the game to a significant degree.
Hmm.
But the other thing, as in regards to the women in the media and stuff like that, like Jamel Hill and pundits like her,
Hmm.
we've seen these individuals at NBA games, but we've never seen them at a WNBA game. But yet they're the same ones that's beating their chest and yelling from the rooftops about how the WNBA is being treated. They're not only they're blatantly liars and grossly disingenuous
Mm.
when they spout these topics, because they're physically not doing the work to promote the game, on the space. So it's just like women is gonna be the reason why this league is gonna continue to fail if they don't change their viewpoint, if they don't promote it, if they don't invest in it. They're going to be the reason why this league inevitably fails. They keep going at the rate that they're going, and that's kind of more or less my take.
That's an interesting point, because what I think you're right, because you're seeing a lot of young girls now, because of well, not solely because of, but Caitlin Clark being a major reason. A lot of young girls are huge fans of hers. They're buying her gear. They're going to her games. But who's taking them? Their dads are taking them to the games.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I'm not going to get too much into that, because you know how easy it is to get canceled in 2024, whether you're telling the truth or not. But yeah, great call. I appreciate that. That's a great call. Gee, what you
Thank
got
you.
on? What you got on what Antoine had to say, man?
Yeah, only one point. I think when like 2 years ago, right? NIL started around 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, around about 2 years ago, we started
Yeah.
to see these players with their social media presence, and then being able to fill the seats, and that if you watch the last 2 years, the NCAA tournament and those games, You know,
Mm-hmm.
the NCAA men's gave us such a crappy show that we
Mm,
had to watch. A lot of us that didn't want to watch, we had to tune in and watch the women's NCAA
mhm.
tournament because it was more exciting than the men's. And
Yeah.
I think what you're saying now is you're saying that wave of people that followed them through college start
Yes.
to follow them into the WNBA, and I,
Hmm.
I believe that's going to be enough for them to, with Juju Watkins coming next
Yeah.
and several others. You're gonna see a wave where they start to break even and start making more money, and then
I
when they
agree.
can start making more money, then they can give you a better product out on the basketball court. But I think $200,000 a year is that's not a lot of money to live off of, as a professional athlete.
I
I
was
think the
about to
max.
say, shoot, let me make 200 grand for about 4 months of work. I'll do that.
Yeah, but I mean, then it becomes an all
I
year thing, though. You get
I
what I'm saying?
understand what you're saying, G.
You,
Yeah, yeah. I'm just being ignorant, man. I got
yeah, yeah, but I think as time go on, I think this brand of basketball is what people want to see, and
you. Yeah.
it'll probably get better as time go on because
Mhm.
of what they're doing at the collegiate front
Yeah.
versus
Great
before.
point.
Like social media wasn't a big presence. Yeah, but that's the
I
only
got
thing I had
one
there.
last point.
W- w-
One last point.
Yeah, go ahead,
And then
Antoine.
yeah, I got one last point. The difference between college and the men's and women, what was advocated for men was to stay in college for 2 years, but then it went to one and done. So you never can build something with those players before they went to the NBA, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to WNBA. They have to stay in college because they're not doing the one and done and stuff. So you build something with that player, and then you can follow that to the WNBA. But once they get to WNBA, it's not promoted the same. It's not advertised the same. It's not treated the same. So if they don't change those dynamics in WNBA, no matter what success these ladies have in college,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to translate to WNBA if they don't change how they treat the game, how they treat the fans,
Mm-hmm.
how they promote the game. It's not going to change. It won't change until they change those different dynamics. That's my only point to that.
There we go. There we
I
go.
disagree.
Antoine, great call as always, man. I appreciate
All
you.
right. Thank you, man.
All right, brother.
Yep.
G, you were saying something, man?
No, I disagree on that last point, but this is a moot point. Like I don't know what plan they has in place. All I know is they was able to catch a lot of viewers, and myself being one over the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 years, just by how crafty they played.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when I watched the men's basketball, it was lackluster on defense, not a lot of offense. It was pretty bad, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
turned most of the games off, but.
Yeah.
Um, as long as they keep putting the girls play hard, man. They play really extremely hard. Every
Yeah.
last 2 years, they've been playing extremely hard,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be like you said, it could be just that the point that they one and done, or they rolling out early, and there's not really a product a complete product on a court.
Right. Right.
Um,
And you also don't get that opportunity to connect to the players the same way. Like when we were growing up, like I used to be a big Terrapins fan. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who don't know the Terrapins, University of Maryland Terrapins. I grew up probably about 30 minutes from College Park, right? 20, 30 minutes. So I grew up big Terps fan. Joe Smith and X Reed Hip and Keith Booth and all them dudes. And then Juan Dixon, and that's your Baltimore boy too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Juan Dixon and Steve Francis and the rest of these cats. I grew up loving that. And that's ACC time. That's also, Tim Duncan played 4 years and Randolph Children played 4 years and Vince Carter played 3 years, you know what I'm saying? And Ray Allen in the Big East at UConn played 4 years, and Allen Iverson 2 years at Georgetown, and Kerry Kittles 4 years at Villanova, John Wallace 4 years at Syracuse. So we grew up in a time when you could really connect to these players and connect to these teams in men's college basketball. You can't do that anymore. And that's why men's college basketball, I believe, has lost so much of the appeal. So with women's college basketball, you can see these players and really grow with them and develop a connection to them. And I think you have a great point there with that, G.